Thanks, Goose!
Zero G, Bajo. Ooh, a 3DS game. Style Boutique?
That's mine.
Oh. Bajo, just the other week I was saying the thing I was most excited about with VR was the potential for some space exploration game.
Yes, and Adrift does have Oculus Rift support, but you can also play it the regular way with a PC or console.
Yeah, and as most people are unlikely to have a Rift at home at the moment, we'll just stick to the straight up game review for now and talk about all the VR stuff at the end.
Adrift takes place on a space station, or rather, what's left of one. A terrible accident has occurred, and you're left floating amongst the wreckage in a damaged spacesuit with dwindling oxygen.
Warning, EVA suit critically damaged. Oxygen leak detected.
Thinking fast, you managed to get your hands on some O2 and set about repairing the damage to the station enough to be able to survive.
Sparing system repair required for Salvis EEV life support system operation.
And hopefully launch an escape shuttle home.
The first thing you need to grasp are the controls. You spend your entire time in this game in 0G, so basically, it's a photo op. You need to use a combination of momentum and the little thrusters on your suit to propel you around the environment.
Yes, but the thrusters use oxygen from your ever-depleting supply, so you have to be careful with how you use them.
Oxygen station damaged.
It's often easy in a game like this where movement is quite slow to just get impatient and spam that boost, but it's wiser to rely more on momentum and just make directional adjustments.
I think the oxygen mechanic is a little too forgiving in this game. There is O2 literally everywhere, flashing green and conveniently floating along the path to your next destination. So I never really felt the need to be careful.
Manual repair required for EEV operation and launch.
Yeah, I guess it's more when you go exploring the outer parts of the station. There are some long distances to cover, and that can be pretty nerve-wracking. Plus, I'm the kind of person that gets easily distracted and I don't notice that my O2 is getting low.
Offline.
So those moments when you are so close to grabbing some oxygen but it's just out of reach,
Solaris mainframe.
or you miss it? Ugh.
Yeah, you have to line up everything really carefully, don't you? And they make good use of the zero gravity control in that way. You can find yourself just floating past things you're trying to grab a hold of, and then you have to turn around and try again.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to get used to. At first, I tried the same method I use anytime anyone drags me ice skating of, I'll just use the wall to stop my momentum. But your suit slowly gets damaged over time when you take hits, so you kind of don't want to bump into stuff if you can help it.
Now, this is a future year 2037 space station, so all the technology is nicely designed and seems clearly laid out. But it's still a space station, so there's a lot that needs fixing. And each piece of machinery is, of course, at the furthest possible opposing location from one another.
Yeah, I got really lost, and often I was going around in circles. It's just not always clear where you're supposed to go. There is a marker on your minimap, but a directional marker in space, which is multi-directional with ups and downs and everything, it's not always going to be helpful.
Suddenly, with a distorted glitch, you are transported to a baseball game in China.
I think you will reach a point where performing repairs through the various arms of this structure will get a little tedious.
From core fabrication. Manual activation required for outgoing communications to mission control.
That's how it started to feel a bit for me. That said, the first half of the game you barely notice because of the sheer magnificence of space exploration. That's enough. Hex, this gave me chills.
Oh, there are some magical sights to behold, aren't there? You know, you do, for a moment, get that heart-fluttering feeling of what it must truly be like to set eyes upon Earth from space.
Yeah, even the debris from the ruined space station has its own beauty.
Yes, and then you pick up that audio log that starts playing Claire de Lune. Oh. I got misty-eyed, Bajo.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, isn't it? The audio logs are, of course, where the story can be found. You can access the quarters of certain crew members to find out more about them, read data transmissions, or listen to audio recordings of diary entries and messages.
Hello, I'm Liam. I'm an addict.
Hi, Liam.
And these are the clues you have to piece together what happened.
McDonough.
Yeah, and this is where the game kind of let me down, I think. There was this huge opportunity here to make the game so much more thrilling if the story had been, more impactful.
I agree. The repetition of all that repair work would have been lessened if there was a more engaging mystery to pull you through. You do get explanation and closure though.
Yeah, but it was just a little weak. And, I had the same issue with the ending of Firewatch, but then that game was more about the relationship that develops between Henry and Delilah, so it still felt like a meaty narrative, whereas this was just, it seemed like a missed opportunity.
Well, we're still in the early days of games that have been developed with VR in mind. The focus now is still really on giving you that immersive experience. It'll be some time before we get that truly immersive story to go with it.
Last week we said we wouldn't use that word, Bajo. But yes, we should talk about how this experience was with the Oculus Rift.
Now, firstly, we don't have the final retail version of the Rift. We're using an old dev kit, which is far inferior. All right, let's go to space.
Yeah, so we can't really share any impressions of the graphics in VR or even any of the motion sickness stuff because all of that has reportedly been vastly improved in the finished version. Let's do this.
Yeah, but I think we can speak generally about how they've implemented VR within this game.
Oh, I like my helmet.
It's so cool being able to look around, like, inside your helmet, but also move the camera to kind of adjust what you want to see in the environment. I have to say, Bajo, that feeling of being totally abandoned in space, I felt it. Look at that. That is amazing. Oh, that window. That's unreal.
It's quite an adjustment getting used to your HUD being inside what is essentially your space helmet.
Oh, I'm gonna run out of oxygen.
Like Iron Man. But the fact that you are wearing a helmet in the game fits nicely with the fact that you have a VR headset on in real life.
I'm much more conscious of trying to duck my head to fit under things. Yeah, you kind of just want to forget about the game for a bit and just float around staring at Earth, don't you? Being in this environment is a VR dream come true. Like just this in and of itself is awesome. Oh man, I feel so lonely up here. I'm so small. Earth is so big, space is so empty. It's pretty incredible. If you do get your hands on an Oculus, you should totally jump straight into the VR experience for maximum impact. However, if you are struggling with some of the movement controls, you always have the option of just playing the game the regular way for a bit, just until you get the hang of it.
Yeah, I think I benefited from doing that first, practicing in non-VR and then putting on the VR headset afterwards.
All right, this station's wrecked. We're going straight to Earth. Oh wow, you really do get that sense of vertigo. I feel like I am actually above the Earth.
I don't know that I can personally sit and play the VR version in long stints like I can when playing the regular way. And I know you have a sensitive stomach when it comes to this stuff in general, Bajo.
Yeah, I'm not good with motion sickness at the best of times, and I know this isn't the final version of the dev kit either, so it's not really fair for me to be critiquing how sick I get from it, but I got really sick, Hex. Like, within 10 seconds, I was feeling super ill.
Space is cool. Oh, space is not making me feel good already.
This is officially rated as an intense VR experience, and it certainly was that for me.
I need some tea. Some ginger tea.
Well, that aside, how did you enjoy your time in space, Bajo?
It just feels like this is built off a tech demo designed to showcase VR, rather than a fully fleshed out game. So once you move past the joy of floating in space, you may find yourself wanting more. I'm giving it 2.5 stars.
Yeah, there are so many great space thriller narratives out there that this could have taken advantage of to go along with that sense of weightlessness and wonder. I mean, you could technically rename this game Space Station Repair Simulator 2037, But you know, it still gets points for still giving me an experience unlike anything else I've had in a game before. So I'm giving it 3.5. Oh, get it? No! This is so frustrating.
Can't wait to get off this goddamn station.